Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Now, we are here at Autodrom Most, and we should be getting ready for round number 7 of EuroNASCAR Pro, the first race of our weekend. However, as you can see, those aren't NASCAR cars out on the circuit. Those are Euro trucks. There has been a bit of delay on the circuit, so we are not ready to get started for our EuroNASCAR round 7 in the Pro Division. We don't know when we will be able to get started, so we are currently just waiting for the Euro Truck Championship to finish their race, and then we'll be able to get started for ours. But yeah, we do not have any more information other than the race has been delayed for the time being. It will get started relatively soon. But we do just need to wait for more information on that. So we appreciate your patience. Thank you for waiting with us. We'll be back with some more information very soon. Yep, hello. Yeah, so we go back live at 10 past. Yep. Okay, cool. Yep, I can do that. Welcome back to Autodrom Must, everybody, and for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. We do have an update for you. We still have got a little bit longer to wait until we can get started for race number 1, round 7 of the championship in EuroNASCAR Pro. However, we do have a time that will begin. We'll be back for the live coverage starting at 10 past 2 local time. That's Central European summertime. That's 10 past 2. We'll be back in just a bit.
Ti imaš sad. Pa jebate da vidim do kud mogu šetat.
When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, finally to Autodrom Most, and we are now getting ready for the EuroNASCAR Pro Round 7 of the season, the first race of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series here at Autodrom Most in 2022. We have had some delays, and apologies for that, and thank you for your patience, of course, due to some incidents happening in other racing series that have been sharing the circuit with us here at Autodrom Most. We are looking forward to getting the series underway. First up, EuroNASCAR Pro, and then a little bit later on, we will have the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers take to the circuit for their 7th round of the campaign as well. Well, we are just waiting on the drivers to make their way over towards the grid. We're going to have a slightly accelerated start procedure. But here is the weekend format that we have for you. Qualifying earlier on with Super Pole and EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying as well. A little bit of a delay, and we are finally here for race number 1 in EuroNASCAR Pro. Like I said, EuroNASCAR 2's race number 1, slightly shorter, and that will be a little bit later on as well. Then tomorrow, the warm-up for the drivers. They got a little bit of time out on the circuit before we get going for the second race for each of the divisions. First up, EuroNASCAR 2, and then EuroNASCAR Pro a little bit later on tomorrow. So, not too hot for the drivers out there at the moment, but the sun has come out. So, overcast conditions for qualifying, where you can see the sun is out and the fans are starting to fill up the grass banks around the circuit. As we take a look at the circuit now and what the drivers have to face this entire weekend long. It is the twistiest circuit on the calendar. Just over 4.2 kilometers or 2.5 miles, depending on your units of choice, and a whopping 21 corners on the circuit. Most number of corners on any circuit on the calendar this season. Turns 1 and 2, very tight. We've seen some incidents earlier on in the Euro trucks, the cause of most of the delays that we've had today. So hopefully everyone will be able to make it through in one piece here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series this weekend as well. Tight and twisty section at the end of the first sector, turns 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, before it opens up a lot, gets a lot quicker, turns 11, 12 and 13 down the hill along the back end of the circuit. Twist up a little bit more for 15, 16 and 17, and then a long straight section into turn 20 and 21 as well for the final corner. So let's take a look then at what has happened previously in EuroNASCAR Pro this season so far. We're obviously here for rounds 7 and 8 at Autodrom Most, but we kicked off the season earlier on this year at Valencia, the circuit Ricardo Tormo, as we so often do in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. You're coming through the first corner at the beginning, the 56 of Nicola Rocca taking the victory there in the first race, but it was Gianmarco Ercoli and Alon Day who would battle side by side, back and forth between the two of them for much of the second race of the championship. And in the end, it was Alon Day who would take the win, his first of the season. His second came in quick succession. First race at Brands Hatch going the way of the Israeli driver, 3-time champion in the series, of course, as well. And then familiar faces up at the front, Gianmarco Ercoli and Alon Day at Brands Hatch for round number 4, and a little bit of contact out of the Druids hairpin in towards Graham Hill Bend. Unfortunately, that did put Ercoli out of contention for the win. Lots of damage to the back of that car. did have to go down into the pit lane. Alonde did get a penalty for that. You can see a curly going off in the distance there. And then it was a huge scrap up in front. But eventually it was Alexander Graf who would take the victory in round number 4. Next, we moved on to Vallelunga in the NASCAR Grand Prix Italy. And who was it but once again Alonde and Gianmarco Ercoli going side by side at the beginning of round number 5. Once again battling throughout the race. But then problems eventually did start to come through for the driver of the number 54 machine. The machine getting a little bit of damage here. You can see it now on the right-hand side of your screens. Off into the gravel trap. The left front of the car just disintegrating through the first couple of corners under the load. A couple of safety car periods and allowing Alonde to take his 3rd victory of the season. This race start for round number 6 wasn't quite going to plan. Gianmarco Ercoli, home driver of course, the Italian, extending his gap out in front and taking the victory in front of his home fans as well. Nicola Rocca not having the best round in round number 6 either, having some slight problems. You can see the championship standings on the left-hand side as well. 12 points is the gap between Alonde and Nicola Rocca in 1st and 2nd, but only 1 point separates 2nd all the way down to 5th. So plenty of changes possible after this round 7 and round 8 weekend at Autodrom.
Just remember. Right.
As we head down towards the pit lane now, and we've got a couple of drivers standing by with Andre.
Thank you so much, Dane. Yes, we're here with Neo Lambert, who was supposed to race in the Club Challenge on Friday, but there were some technical difficulties, right?
Yeah, we've got some issues with the gearbox, so unfortunately we weren't able to compete in the 2 last session, which count on the Club Challenge. So we finished last, but I think we come back stronger in Zolder, and now I'm staying on Saturday and Sunday with the team to learn how the coach is working with the pro drivers, and I'm gonna watch their race, how they overtakes, etc., to learn for the next year in NASCAR too.
You see a lot of fans on the grandstands, on the grass, all around the track here. So are you also to try to get the atmosphere, how the fans are enjoying this festival?
Yeah, the atmosphere is crazy. First, when we came on the track this morning, there were like a lot of traffics because of them, and it's really great. And I signed a lot of autograph, and they're crazy, taking pictures, etc. Really like the atmosphere. It's like amazing.
What about the track as a race car driver?
A bit different than Vallelunga. It's way faster with fast corners. There's also a slow section, so it's we've got a mix of different kind of corner. But I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, and see you next time.
Thank you. See you guys.
Yeah, unfortunate that entry wasn't able to get in for the Club Challenge, the sort of 3rd division, just the regulatory races there on a Friday. But often drivers will use them as practice for a season ahead of a full campaign in EuroNASCAR 2. We've seen that quite often over the last couple of years. And all the fans waiting for their home favourite, Martin de Beek, who will be on the front row of the grid as well. A fantastic qualifying performance for Martin in both EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2, doing double duty this weekend and sticking it on the front row in both qualifying sessions. 2nd place, he'll start alongside Alonde in race number 1 in EuroNASCAR Pro. He'll start pole position in EuroNASCAR 2. And we're down back on the pit lane with Andre.
Interview you, Pete Fink, Motorvision TV German TV commentator and also track announcer for the whole day here. Truck GP, NASCAR GP. How do you like the event so far?
It's my first time in Most, I have to admit. It's a very nice circuit, a very nice atmosphere. So I'm happy. Are you happy too?
Yes, I'm totally happy. I mean, we have a little bit of a delay. That is, something that's part of racing. But have you seen?
Aren't you used to getting delays during NASCAR?
Yes, but then it's rain or lightnings or something like this. But not
snow.
Snowy as well. But we see the cars on the track. So you have to go upstairs and do the track announcing. What do do you think about the crowd? How many people are there? Amazing, right?
Amazing, amazing, amazing. But first of all, I go into the grid and I do some interviews, like you.
Okay, then go on, do your work.
I do my homework.
All right, see you later.
Always great to hear from the other commentators around the circuit as well. As yeah, he makes his way over towards the grid to steal Andre's job, it seems. Andre will probably be around there in not too long. The drivers, as you saw, making their way out onto the circuit, and they'll be making their way onto the grid now. As you can see, there is Alonde, followed by Martin de Beek. They'll be on the front row of your grid for the race, which is going to kick off very shortly, as they'll line up there and the teams will get final preparations in. We should be getting ready to go in just a few minutes' time. The drivers have been waiting for a little bit longer than they would have bargained for, but we'll see if we can't get maybe a chat with one of them. We'll see what we can do. There's a bit of a wave to the camera there from Martin de Beek in that number 7 machine. Bright blue and yellow paint all over the side of it. You cannot miss it. As the drivers get their final preparations in. As we await the start of the formation laps. You can see there the number 24 machine of Alonde, 3-time champion in the series, 3-time race winner this season alone. He's won a race here at Moss before last year, starting on pole position in the best place possible. Gets the inside line in towards the first corner. Absolutely flying out on the circuit the entire weekend so far. Unstoppable in the practice sessions. And half a second clear in the end of anybody else on the circuit in qualifying as well. Absolutely loves this circuit. And it shows. He is definitely one of the favourites to take this race victory, that is for sure. Number 56 machine, Nicola Rocca. Championship contender, of course. Will be starting slightly further down the grid than maybe he would have wanted, but still right up near the front. And he'll still have a good opportunity to get some moves done in towards turn number 1. Number 69, Alexander Graf, another one of the race winners. Sorry, Sebastian Blekevermeulen, doing a very impressive job in qualifying this Sebastian. Right up there near the front. Putting that number 69 machine right up where it belongs, and has a very good opportunity to score some good points here. As you can see, second row of the grid will start in 4th position. And it looks like we are going to get one final shout with a driver. We've got Andre down on the grid.
Yeah, I wrote you that we have no more interviews, but I look at the clock and I think we have time to talk to Nicola Rocca. Starting position right behind Alonde, behind the pole sitter. What is your plan to get past him?
Well, don't really have a plan. I think I'm just going to try and overtake the 2 guys in front and fight for the win. I'll see. Obviously, the start is going to be giving an opportunity, but maybe even throughout the race. It's a long one, 17 laps, a lot can happen. So I know that I have the pace, and I know that 56 is fast. So starting from there, I know that we can fight.
We had a delay. How is it as a driver when you were ready to jump in the car and you have to wait and wait and wait? Does it change something in you, in your mindset?
Not really, but yeah, these moments normally you just wanna go and race. You just can't wait for for it to get started. And yeah, these moments maybe are the most painful ones in the life of a racing driver, but you know, we gotta take it. It's all good. Anyway, appreciating the moment, and yeah, cannot wait to get started.
Grazie mille, good luck.
As drivers now just awaiting last couple of minutes until we can get started for the 2 formation laps that we'll have before we can get the race underway. Couple of offs earlier on in the series, and we will get another shout out with a driver. Let's go back down to the grid with Andre.
Yes, I'm still having one eye on the clock, so we have to be very quick. Sebastian Blekemon, good starting position. How crucial will be the start here?
Well, turn 1 is first gear corner, and it is a chicane, so the start is very crucial, and you have to be careful not to destroy your front bumper. Watch the back, so it all depends on turn 1.
All right, then good luck, and thank you well.
Yeah, just a couple moments now until we will get ready to go. Drivers clearly itching to get started here. They've been waiting for long enough. Of course, with the delays, drivers are, well, they really want to get going. You can see that. None of them have popped out the cars. They're all staying in there. As we have just 2 minutes until the formation lap should start. There's the number 14 machine. Mark Goosen's in there. The Belgian driver not doing too bad in qualifying at all. Starting in P6, I believe, at the beginning of this race. And now we'll head over to the Grand Marshal for the starting command for the drivers.
Za chvíli tím slavným pokynem dá pokyn jezdcům, aby nastartovali své motory a tak oficiálně započne ten závod. Takže Kubo, je to tvoje. Drivers, start your engines!
There it is, the starting command, the most famous words in all of motorsport. And the drivers will be getting ready. The pace lap should be, well, the pace laps, I should say, should be getting underway within the next few seconds on the circuit. About 40 seconds away. The teams will vacate the grid. Drivers will be left on their own. You can see the massive grid of cars that we have got on the circuit here at Autodrom Most for round number 7 of the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship. So we wait for the last of the team members just to make their way back into the pit lane. Your front row on the screen now. Alon Day in the 24 on the left-hand side. Martin de Beek, the home favourite. The Czech driver in the number 7 on the right. They'll be making their way down towards turn number 1 to start off the race, but we do have 2 formation laps, I believe. We will see when the pace car does pull off into the pit lane. And at 2:30 p.m. local time, we will get underway with the pace lap. The drivers all ready to go, all the team members off of the grid. Green flag in the background, the green flag on the starting gantry. And off we go for the pace lap now. Chance for drivers to get some heat into their tyres, get those tyres prepped. We saw in qualifying it took a good 3-4 laps for them to actually get the tyres into the optimal temperature window. The last thing that you want is to be heading in towards the very tight, as we heard from Sebastian Bleekemolen, first gear corner. Last thing you want to do is head into there with cold tyres, cold brakes. So you'll see them weaving around, getting on the gas, getting on the brakes, doing anything they can to get some heat into their machines. As we can take a look at the starting grid for this EuroNASCAR Pro round number 7. It will, of course, be Alon Day on pole position alongside Martin de Beck. You don't need to hear me say that again. Nicola Rocca will start in 3rd position alongside Sebastian Bleek-Molen. Alexander Graf and Mark Goossens 5th and 6th on the 3rd row of the grid. Gianmarco Ercoli and Gabillon in 7th and 8th. And then Ian Etter and Lemery in 9th and 10th. We'll see how Lemery's car fares, because we did have some issues at the end of EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying. The number 5 machine, then in the hands of Vladimiros Tsiotsis, pulled off to the side of the circuit, did not get to the pit lane after the end of that session. We still, I don't believe, know what exactly the issue was, but we'll have to wait and see how that car fares. 17 laps of racing coming up. Rest of the grid starting in 11th is going to be Maggi, with Liam Hasemans just behind him in 12th. Colavita and Tuomala on row 7. Capelli and Zimmer on row 8. Behind them are Meta and Barberini. Rauchivari and Lanza rounding out your top 20 drivers. Koloch in 21st, Romagnoli in 22nd. Then Chrysonis, Sokolovsky, Monti and Gabossi in 26th position. Casso and Dallara rounding out the 27th and 28th positions there. As we see the drivers making their way out now, that's through turn 18 and the kink at turn 19, and the pace car will stay out on the circuit. We will go for one more lap behind the pace car. As they now make their way back onto the start-finish straight again. Weaving all the time just to keep the heat in the tyres. Now that they've got it in there, they need to make sure that they maintain those temperatures. Otherwise, we may well see some carnage heading in towards turn number 1. We've already seen that with other series at the circuit this morning. Hopefully we can get a good, clean launch off the line here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. We had some contact, a lot of contact actually, the first race last year. That race also proving very challenging for the drivers. The rain started to fall. Absolutely no risk of that today. You can see there, perfect blue skies. As the track will heat up for the drivers as well. Currently 21 degrees Celsius. It should get up to 22 throughout the race for distance, but no higher than that. The drivers will be thankful for that. It's not the 30+ temperatures, the scorching heat that we had at Vallelunga last time out. But they're now through the very, very tricky S's section at the end of the first sector. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and through the hairpin at turn 10. And then down the hill they go. They'll build up speed extremely quickly here as gravity pulls them down and helps with the acceleration as well. Through 11 in the background and 12 in the foreground of the circuit. Is going to prove a bit of an issue for the drivers. It's quite tricky to get the cars to get all the way back to the left-hand side before the braking zone. Then through turn 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. They're going around the left-hander at turn 16 here. Incredibly tricky section of corners. And here we go then. Out of turn 18 they go. Just 2 corners left until we can finally get this round number 7 underway. Once again, thank you for sticking with us here for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. The pace car will eventually pull off to the right-hand side of the circuit and lead the field in control of Alon Day. Round number 7 of the Pro Division in EuroNASCAR. Alonde on pole. Martin de Beek alongside him in second position. Your front row. Pace car pulls off to the left-hand side of our screen, to the right-hand side of the circuit. And Alonde leads the field around the final corner now. They'll wait for the lights on the starting gantry. It's about a 500-meter run down and towards turn number 1. And onto the main start-finish straight they come, waiting for the start lights on the gantry. We're ready to get racing for round number 7. And we're off, and it's a poor start from de Beek. He is going to get pushed along, though, by Sebastian Bleekemolen. Alonde leads by a car length already. And here comes Nicola Rocca up the inside of Martin de Beek as they make their way into the first chicane for the first time. And he's almost going to have it there. There's a little bit of contact, and Alonde is around. De Beek and Rocca, off into the background. And was that Sir Alexander Graf who's managed to make his way all the way through? There's utter chaos in the background. It might have been Sebastian Bleekemolen out into the lead of this race here. It is Bleekemolen in the lead, Graf in second, Goossens in third, and the front 3 drivers taking out of this race at turn number 2 as they make their way through turn 10 now, and still racing here out in front. Bleekemolen from 4th place on the grid makes it through the chaos, and the safety car is out. Or is it, as the drivers still make their way full pelt down the back straight? And there is the chaos. And yes, the safety car has been deployed now. Big wreck out in front, you can see there. Oh, and another one. It's the number 14, it's Goossens, so something else has happened here. Much further up through the field, everybody's going to pass him, he's off into the grass. A massive wreck here. Safety car's being deployed finally, but Sebastian Bleekemolen will lead the field. The 64 of Alexander Graf just behind, and then somehow Mark Goossens, who was just on the back of this little train here at the front, has been sent all the way to the back with a heavily damaged car, and you can see the debris everywhere over the circuit. This is through turns 1 and 2 now. It's the exit of turn 2, and how are they going to make it through all of this without hitting anything? They've run over all of the debris, and this could be dangerous for the drivers as well with the punctures that they could pick up. There's debris all over the circuit here, so definitely the correct decision there to bring out the safety car. They've got to clear that up. You can see in the background from where the truck race earlier, they spilled fluid all over the circuit. That had to be cleared up. That is the main cause of all of the delays that we've been having today. And there is Alonde making his way through the final corner. There's debris on the final corner as well. So they make their way back around on the second lap, but the safety car hasn't caught them just yet as they make their way around the circuit here. Try and figure out what exactly did happen at the start of the race. It was Alonde, and into the back of Alonde went Nicola Rocca. You can see on the screen there. But was there further contact involved as they now make their way through the final corner now? Through the final corner they go. Bleekemolen and Alexander Graf. They look like they are going at full speed here. As the safety car definitely has been deployed, and is the safety car at the end of the pit lane waiting? Yes, it is. There it is, going through turn number 1 now. As the medical car making its way back down into the pit lane. Usually that means some good news. But the safety car now has caught the leaders. But look at all the debris on the back straight there, out of the final corner. I can't quite make out whose car that is. This is the number 2 of Federico Monti, perhaps. That's what it looks like. But Bleekemolen does lead, Graf in second. Ercole has managed to get up into third position as well. So a fantastic start after not so great qualifying position for Ercole. De Beck drops down to fourth. And then Zimmer, Gabion, Kolok, Hazemans, Armetta, Lanza in order. But we still don't know how many of these drivers have got damaged, because that was a huge incident in turn number 2. And once again, today at Autodrom Moss, the safety car will get the laps in. Goossens sent airborne briefly at the chicane at the start of the race, I'm being told. So that would definitely explain the damage. But it looks like maybe some damage that took a bit of time to actually cause an effect, much like we saw with Ercole at Vallelunga in the last round, where a little bit of damage from the start of the race, a little bit of contact, and then it just disintegrated going through turn 1 a couple of laps into the race. But unfortunately for Goossens, that sent him right to the back of the field. So, Allonday started in first, on pole position, is now in 19th position. Whether or not that car has significant damage or not, we'll have to figure out when he drives past one of the cameras, if one of the cameras picks up his car. Loads of cars did have damage, and there's debris all over the circuit. There's debris, loads of it through turns 1 and 2. There's debris down by turn 10. There's also a bit of debris I think I saw down by turn 13 as well. That's where Goossens went off. And then there's a ton of debris on the final corner exit on the main straight as well. So we'll figure out, yep, there is quite a bit of damage to the front of Alon's car. Yep, you can see it there. There is Alon Day in the number 24, and that is, yeah, significant damage. That tyre on the front left doesn't even look like it's pointing in the right direction fully, but still carrying on out there on the circuit. Front bumper dislodged, some scraping against the floor there as well. And here is the replay then. We will see what happened there. Send up the inside by the number 56 of Rocker, and then into the back and turning around. There was just a turning around of Allonday, and that just caused a whole bunch of incident. And then a car coming across the gravel as well to start things off even further. But look at how many cars are stuck there behind the stricken Allonday, going around onto the gravel to get around him as well. And look at the traffic jam that we see there. Loads of damage to the number 5 machine. That car cannot catch a break this weekend. Problems at the beginning of EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying, problems at the end of EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying, and now a chunk of damage to the front right portion of the car as well. But it's all started, all of this chaos, by Rocker getting into the back of Allonday. The camera angle didn't quite show if there was more contact that caused that. So did someone get into the back of Nicola Rocker and force him into Allonday in front of him? But it was a big send originally into turn number 1 by Rocky. He got a fantastic getaway and then launched himself up the inside. Day had it covered to begin with, got back in front, and then gets turned around here at turn 2, spun around, and that's what most of this incident was caused by. But there were still cars going off further on in the background. I think one of them was the 14 of Goossens. I think he came right across the gravel, completely skipping the second corner and filing back in third position, then dropping back after the fact. So a couple of separate incidents here, just at the same corner at the same time, and causing complete chaos at the beginning of this race. Already on lap 4 now. (17 laps, just over 75 kilometers. the drivers will make their way behind the safety car for, you'd expect, a couple of laps still. Plenty of debris for the marshals to be clearing up. Well, before today's qualifying session, Team Bleekemolen did tell us that they were very optimistic about their chances today. They thought their practice session didn't quite show, or the results of the practice session didn't quite show their full pace, and well, putting it right up near the front has definitely worked out well for them. Opportunistic stuff from the driver of the number 69 machine, and finds himself leading the race for a good 4 laps now as they make their way up towards the final couple of corners. And Alonde, with a bunch of damage as well, has got a job to do if he wants to retain the championship lead after this round. Only 12 points in it. And with the point system here as well, Alexander Graf, Akoli, Dubek, all of them stand good chance of taking that red banner away from our 3-time champion in the number 24 machine. Background for another lap under the safety car we go. The debris at the exit of the final corner has now been cleared, as you can see. So that's 1 tick off of the checklist of can we go back green. Still plenty of cars with a lot of damage. Akoli there missing most of the front left wheel arch. So you'd probably expect that car to start going backwards as soon as the race gets underway. The rear bumper of Dubek's car is hanging off as well. So good opportunity for the likes of Jan Zimmer on his return to EuroNASCAR. After 8 years, up in 5th position. And got 2 pretty heavily damaged cars in front of him as well. A single file restart, and well, it's not massively surprising after what we've seen here through turns 1 and 2. Very tight, very difficult to get right, especially when you're coming from the wide start-finish straight to the slightly narrower exit of that turn 2. But does that mean we're going to get back underway at the end of this lap? I didn't see too much debris at the exit of turn number 2. Debris at the final corner has been cleared. I think the debris down at turn 13 to 14 has also been cleared. So we'll see if we can get back going at the end of this lap. If we do, we'll start off the race once again on lap number 6. We'll have 12 laps of a green flag running potentially, led by Sebastian Bleekemolen. As the cars will make their way down through turn 11 and 12. Safety car in this lap. So we are going to get going back racing again. Hopefully for longer than 2 corners this time, as a lot of damaged NASCAR vehicles making their way through down towards turns number 14 and 15 here. But we will get back racing again at the end of this lap. The safety car will pull out down onto the pit lane and give control of the field to Sebastian Bleekemolen, who is being closely followed by Alexander Graf and Gianmarco Ercole. But keep your eye out on the number 94. We'll restart the race in 5th position, just behind Dubek and Ercole. Has a good opportunity now to make up a couple positions and possibly even get up onto the podium position. He's got to watch out. Some quick drivers just behind him as well. Koloc, Gabion, Hazelmans as well, doing a very good job in qualifying. Here we go then. Drivers lining up in single file fashion. Lights off on the safety car. It'll pull off to the left-hand side of our screens now. Down into the pit lane it goes. And Sebastian Bleekemolen will lead the field around the final corner. And once again, await the green lights on the starting gantry. Here we go. Lap number 6 will restart. Round number 7 of the EuroNASCAR Pro Division for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Grand Prix of Czechia. And here we go then. De Beck already looking up the inside of Erkeli now. In towards turn number 1. Are we going to be able to make it through cleanly? Round the outside goes Erkeli up into 3rd position. He goes. As De Beck can't be able to make that move up the inside. They're side by side a little bit further back as well. But Bleekemolen leads, Graf in second, and already a little bit of a gap between them and Erkeli. Erkeli and De Beck going side by side in towards the first corner. Erkeli managing to hold on to that podium spot. Through the S's they go, in towards turn number 10. Around the outside goes Graf. He's not going to be able to make that move stick though, and Bleekemolen holds on for the time being, but aggressive driving from the number 64. Wants to get back up into the race lead as early as possible. Down to 13 they go. Still just about holding on into the braking zone for turn number 15. Graf getting onto the dirt on the inside there. Have to be careful about track limits as well. But Erkeli pulling away from De Beck. De Beck's car seemingly quite slow in a straight line, and that is going to hold him. As Zimmer now onto the back of him. Back of the car on De Beck, completely gone now as they make their way through the final couple of corners here. Graf needs a good run if he wants to get past down towards turn number 1 again. It'll be the best opportunity getting into the draft of the number 69 machine in front. Onto the grass is the number 3. And that's going to allow Lanza to make a move up the inside as well. Down to turn number 1 they go. It's Graf to the outside of turn number 1. They're side by side still, and he has to back out of it. Bleekemolen holds on to the lead for now. Side by side between Lanza and Gabion as well. As there's damage to the back of Gabion's car there. The rear bumper looking just like De Beck's did as well. That's going to fall off pretty soon, you'd have to imagine. As through turns 8 and 9 they go again, and now into towards turn number 10. Graf once again looking at the race lead, but Bleekemolen holding on as they go down, once again down the hill and towards turn number 13. Bleekemolen leads, Graf in second, Erkeli in third, De Beck holds on to fourth, just about to Jan Zimmer on his return after 8 years. Got a bit of a gap behind as well to Gabion. Gabion battling with Lanza. And then you've got to go a bit further back to Armetto, Romagnoli, Barberini, your top 10. Alon Day already up into 11th position here. Not too far off in the background. And you can hear as he drives past De Beck's rear bumper scraping along the ground, definitely slowing him down. And Zimmer right onto the back of him as they make their way round the final corner now as well. And De Beck is getting a drive-through penalty, the number 7, for causing a collision. So a drive-through penalty for the number 7 machine, causing a collision. You can only assume that that's going to be in towards the first corner, the first couple of corners. Which means that Zimmer will inherit that 4th position when De Beck goes in to serve that penalty. Alon Day still slicing his way through the field, up in the 9th position and now already. Looking up towards the back of Armetto as well. We focus on Dubek, the home favourite. Unfortunately, not his race here, and quite a lot of damage to the back of that number 7 machine as well. Bit of debris on the outside of the circuit there at turn 15 as well, so not too sure what car that's come off of. Couldn't quite make out whose car it was, but definitely it looks like the front or rear bumper of a car just stuck on the outside of the circuit. Alonde there. 9th position at the moment, looking ahead towards the number 55. Or it's already got ahead of the number 55, excuse me, and now is looking up the road at Lanza in the number 88. Or Gabion in the number 3. Battle for the lead still goes on. Graf right on the back bumper of Bleekemolen there through turns 1 and turns 2. And car number 1, Thomas Krasonis, out of the race as well, pulled over onto the side of the circuit. Potentially a gearbox failure for the number 1 machine. Here we go then. Another car off in the background as well, 69 and 64. Bleekemolen and Graf still battling for the lead of this race as we approach half race distance. Through turns 15 and 16, they will go. Dubek has served this drive-through penalty. Now you can see he's dropped back down to 16th position, right where Liam Hasemans is. I'm sure they'll be battling once again. As the safety car has come out, and I can only imagine that's for the stopped car at turn number 10. But we have a second safety car here in this race. The 47 of Kolovita parking at the exit of turn number 10 on the outside where the Superbike's long loop is. But the safety car is out. We will see your order as they'll make their way back around once again. Day gets past Gabion, moves up into 6th position now already, and this is great for Alonde. Bunches the field back up. He can have another shot at trying to make some moves up, because there was a little bit of a gap between himself and Lanza up in front. You can see there, a bit of a gap. That gap will become absolutely nothing by the time we get this race started once again. So we have lost Thomas Krasonis, the Greek driver in the number 1 machine. Suspected gearbox failure in that one. We have lost the 47 of Colavita. Leonardo Colavita, the Italian, has parked it here at the exit of turn 10. Is that car still there? It is. So the 47 is out there on the circuit. Looks like a bit of damage to the front bumper of that as well, the front hood too. As the field will run behind the pace car for the time being. They are running behind the pace car from Zimmer. So that's Zimmer in 4th, Jan Zimmer. And then it's Lanza behind, and then Day and Gabion. So the top 3 are not behind the safety car. So we'll wait and see what happens here. As they'll just, I guess, slow down and the safety car will overtake them. You can see, there we go. There's Curly just being overtaken in the background of the penultimate corner. And something you don't see every day. There's a Hyundai i30, I believe. overtaking NASCAR cars. The top 3 now being overtaken by the safety car. Now we have got the full field in the train behind the safety car as well. Your top 10 in order then, after the pace cars run around for a full lap and we've got the full order of the vehicles. Blake and Whelen still leads, of course, led every lap of the race so far. Graf in second just behind, Alcoli in third, and then Zimmer lands at Day, moving all the way up into P6 already. Gabion, Armetta, Romagnoli and Capelli. As through the S's they go once more. We have lost Nicola Rocca from the race. And there is the number 1. Thomas Chrysonis, of course, out of that car now. And if you just saw a car overtaking the entire pace field and making his way past the pace car as well, he'll do that very shortly. Up to the front of the field, that is the number 46, driven by Roman Iannetta, gets the lucky dog. So if the safety car does come out, and there are cars laps down, the highest positioned driver with a gap to the leaders of a lap or more, they get to go around and get a lap back. They rejoin the back of the pacing field. So Iannetta was in that position. You can see there on the timing screen, Gabossi, the last driver on the lead lap. Iannetta, the first driver not on the lead lap. Iannetta gets to overtake everybody, move his way all around the circuit, catch up to the back of the pace field, and unlap himself during the safety car period. So then, as we come to the end of lap number 10, Alon Day redressing the position to Gabion. So Gabion's just got ahead of Alon Day. I'm not too sure why that's happened there. Didn't see the pass being made. Maybe there's been a steward's decision, but we will have to wait and see what's happened there. But Gabion up into 6th position, Day into 7th. As the pace car, the safety car moves back around for another lap. As we see another replay of the start here. Now, I've been told that it's Dubek that gets into the back of Day here on the replay. And that is exactly what has happened, and that is why Dubek's got a drive-through penalty. It's just getting a bit deep on the brakes, getting into that vortex of danger, as it's called. The gap that looks like it's there, but it's always closing on the inside of the car as they've already started to turn in, and unfortunately, they get spun around. Dubek gets off with just a bit of rear damage, but unfortunately gets that penalty as well. Down to 21st position, just off of the timing tower at the moment. Behind Giorgio Maggi, who's not had the greatest of races, caught up in the incidents, is down 2 laps on the leaders as well. Bit of debris still on the circuit here and there, as they try to clear the circuit of the stricken cars that were on it. Number 1, of course, stopping on the circuit off of turn 14. And the number 47 was stopped on the outside of turn number 10. It's gone now. Leonardo Colavita. We wait to see when we can get back going again. We'll have 7 laps to go in this first race, 7th round of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, EuroNASCAR Pro Division. There is the number 88 with the red banner. That is for EuroNASCAR 2. Alberto Nasca driving that car in EuroNASCAR 2, leading the championship. Qualified third position for the race that will be coming up shortly this afternoon. But Alonde was all the way down in 16th position. Gained a ton of positions in one lap. Already up into 7th position. We saw him get past Gabion. We didn't see how it happened. He's redressed the position, so I'm assuming there was a bit of contact or off-road driving involved in that. But we will get back going around with the pace car once again. But Alonde lightning fast at this Most circuit. Fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying by half a second in Superpole. So no surprise to see him moving up very swiftly through the field. As we begin lap number 12 of 17. Next time by, if we can get going green, we'll have 5 laps for the drivers to sort out their finishing order. We shall wait and see. Debris looking pretty clear out in the first couple of corners. Down to the S's they go. The right at 5. Curved braking zone essentially for turn 6. Slow it down for turn 7 as well. Get back on the power for turns 8 and 9. Tighter than they look. And then back on the brakes in towards turn number 10. Through this part of the circuit, they carry immense speed into the braking zone. And trying to get the car slowed down whilst going through the S's is incredibly difficult. Single file restart once again then. And so we will get back going again at the end of this lap. So we will have 5 laps until the end of round number 7 of the EuroNASCAR Pro Division at the NASCAR Grand Prix of Czechia here at Autodrom Most. Just waiting for the lights on the safety car to go out. And that will be our confirmation of whether or not we are going green. Through turn 15, 16 and 17 they go. Lights usually go out somewhere around halfway through turn 17. So we will wait until then to see whether or not we are getting back underway. They've already had 1 restart, so they know what to expect. Single file, of course. Safety car is in this lap confirmed, so we will be getting back underway once again. There is the 47. A lot of damage to the front of that car, and that explains why it was stopped out on the circuit. But here we go. Drivers lining back up in single file. Bleekemolen leads. Graf in second just behind, looking to get that lead and try and take his second win of the season. Erkeli in third place as well. Zimmer in fourth. Lands at Gabion. Alonde just behind as well, lurking as ever. Incredible pace this weekend for the Israeli driver. Definitely one to keep your eye on here at the restart. As the safety car now pulls off to the left-hand side. The field is once again in control of the 69 Team Bleekemolen machine, driven by Sebastian Bleekemolen. Out of the final corner they go. You can see the lights on the gantry, waiting for them to go out. 5 laps to go here for round number 7 of EuroNASCAR Pro Division. And we are green once again, and it is a good launch from Bleekemolen. Absolutely nothing that Graf can do except try and defend from Curly, who's going to go side by side with him in towards the first corner now. A load of smoke coming off of the driver on the outside as they make their way into the braking zone. The first few drivers all get through single file. Alon Day is up into 5th position. Somehow he's managed to outbrake everybody there at the start of the race, and he's up into 6th now, actually, as the drivers make their way through. You almost got all the way up into 5th position. I think it is 6th now as they make their way through. Down and towards the S's once more. Still single file up in front. And it looks like everybody has made it through cleanly through the rest of the field. A position made up early on for Alon Day. And now through turn number 10, he's going to look to get a better exit. Does get a better exit as well. Down the hill now. Is he going to be able to be close enough to make a move into turn 13? I don't think he will. Debris off in the background as Gabion's car is falling to pieces. Yes, there are some penalties coming through from race control as well. A couple drivers going off at the beginning of the restart that we missed on the cameras, but a 5-second penalty for the number 50 of Liam Hazeman's restart procedure. He's left his line before the start-finish line. You've got to stay in single file up until that point, and so he gets a 5-second penalty for that. To the end of lap number 13 then, and on towards lap number 14, and Alon Day up into 4th position. He's got past Lanza and disposed of him immediately. Look at this. We'll have 4 laps to go, and you can fit the top 4 all in one camera shot. Down the main straight they go, and look at the speed that Alon Day is able to carry down towards turn number 1. He won't be able to get the brakes done around the outside in towards turn number 1. They'll go single file through turn number 2. Bleekemolen still under pressure from Alexander Graf. Cody still under pressure now from Alon Day as they make their way into the S's for the 14th time. As you can see, the debris on the circuit there that was left off of, I believe, Gabion's car in the background. As the drivers will have 3 laps to go. We will not have all 17 laps of the race, as the timing tower may be having some slight issues here. Drivers will have 2 laps to go next time by. So not a lot of time for anyone to make up positions. Here in the top 4, it's still extremely close. The top 4 separated by just about a second as they make their way through in towards the final couple of corners now. Here is Gabion under pressure from Armetta. Through the final corner they go, and Armetta's going to get a good run here into the draft. And surely will pull now to the inside as a huge train of cars a little bit further back as well. Oh, and now into turn 1. Urkeley's gone wide. Alon Day up the inside, now around the outside for turn number 2. He almost gets forced off the circuit. He does get into the gravel as well. He won't be happy about that one. But down through the S's, they'll go again. Down to turn 10 they go once more. Bleekemolen could win this race from 4th position on the grid, leading every single lap, getting through that first lap, first quarter incident without a scratch, and is doing a fantastic job of holding off the Swedish driver behind him. Alexander Graf all over the back of him, and all over the back of Urkeley is Alon Day. We've seen these two side by side so many times this season already. And around the outside goes Alon Day to turn 15. He's left the room. He's up the inside and towards turn number 16. They're still side by side now for the left of 17. Oh, and Graf is off as well, up in front. And Alon Day now, they're going to go side by side in towards the penultimate corner. with just 1 lap to go when they reach the line. Alonde around the outside of turn number 20. Is he going to be able to make it stick? He's carrying more speed around the outside in towards the final corner once again. For the final podium position, he's almost forced off the circuit. They make contact again. It's like Brands Hatch all over again. And Erkeli is going to hold on for now, but now smoke out of the back of the car. Damage to the tyre potentially for Erkeli. Running a bit wide there again, Alonde getting a great exit now. Looks to the inside for turn number 6. You can see the damage to the front of Erkeli's car as well. The front bumper almost falling off of the machine. Final lap of the race. And look at the exit that Alonde is able to get there. Erkeli has no acceleration out of the slower corners, but Day still needs to find the way. Bleekemolen still leaves, Graf in second, and this battle for third position. Erkeli just in front in the pink, number 54, the black and yellow, number 24, looking to the inside, to the outside for number 15. He's not going to make that one stick. He's going to try and get the cut back. Now around the outside for turn number 16. They're going to make a little bit more contact, and Erkeli is on the defensive now. Can he keep the run all the way down to turn 20? Look at the run that Alonde is going to get. Weaving down the straight as Erkeli onto the curbs. They're going to go side by side once more. Bits of carbon fibre and metal going everywhere through the final couple of corners. They will go side by side, and it's Bleekemolen who's going to lead Graf across the line, and Bleekemolen will win round number 7 of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR Pro, and Erkeli has held on for third position here as well. Sebastian Bleekemolen starting from 4th place on the grid. Gets into the lead after 2 corners and holds off Graf for 17 laps to take the victory here at Autodrom Most. Graf finishes in second. You can't say he didn't go for the lead enough though. Erkeli and Day battling, making contact. It was almost a repeat of what happened at the Druids hairpin in round number 4 at Brands Hatch. But he just about holds on. Was Alonde forced off potentially? We'll see. Surely it will go to race control and the stewards team. But for Sebastian Bleekemolen, they were confident coming into the round, but I don't think that they thought a win was on the cards. But that is exactly what they've got here in the first EuroNASCAR Pro race of the weekend. Liam Hazelman's with a 5-second penalty as well, finishing in 17th position. Nearest driver 10 seconds back, so I think that will stand for Liam. But what a finish to the end of that race. Graf and Bleekemolen going at it the entire time, barely ever separated by more than half a second. Erkeli and Day side by side for most of the last 2 laps. And Erkeli eventually manages to pull through and hold on with an incredibly damaged car. That number 54 machine, definitely not the healthiest looking NASCAR you've ever seen. And down into the pit lane, to victory lane for the number 69 machine, Sebastian Bleekemolen. A brilliant race to start off the weekend for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. We've got EuroNASCAR 2 action coming up later on today as well. Make sure you do join us for that. But pulling into victory lane now. Here he is, Sebastian Bleekemolen, doing a stunning job out in front to hold on to the race victory. Absolutely fantastic job. As the team come to congratulate him. We'll wait for the team to get a few words in before we go down to the pit lane and see if we can get a word with him from Andre in just a moment's time. The rest of the field will make their way down into the pit lane, and the teams will start to prepare their cars for EuroNASCAR 2. A lot of damaged vehicles coming out of that first race of the weekend. Congratulations in order from some of the other drivers out there. That's Alexander Graf. A great little battle between the two drivers there. As you can just see the state of most of these cars. Plenty of damage, plenty of work for the team to do now. Between now and when we get underway for the EuroNASCAR 2 race in just a little bit. Your race results provisionally, at least, as plenty of contact means a couple of penalties potentially. Bleekemolen on the top of his car, absolutely over the moon with that performance. Alexander Graf in second position, Erkeli in third, Alonde in fourth, Jan Zimmer on his return to EuroNASCAR after an 8-year hiatus finishes in fifth position. Lanza holds on to sixth, Gabion in seventh, Armetta in eighth, couldn't quite get past him at the end there. Sokolovsky, Romagnoli, Capelli, all in a huge train of cars there at the end. Rounding out your top 10, Barberini in 12th position, Girelli in 13th.
Dutch Grand Prix. Next level.
As immediately the most important thing, getting out of the car, taking a look at some of the other motorsports events going on. And we will get a word with our race winner, absolutely ecstatic. And he's down there on the victory lane with Andre.
Yes, I'm here with a brand new race winner in EuroNASCAR, Sebastian Bleekemolen, Professor.
Yeah, it feels good. No, it was an amazing race. It was quite easy to. Well, it ended up at the front, of course, after the start. I was a little bit lucky, but I could stay out of trouble, and then it was controlling a little bit of the race. Alexander was really fast, but I think we were the fastest on track. So a good race, really happy.
You said you have to survive the chaos in turn one, find a good lane. You saw the crash. What happened there? And afterwards, the battle with Alexander. Just talk us through a little bit these emotions you had there.
Yeah, well, we spoke before the start that it's always surviving turn one, and it happened again. I believe Martin Doorbeck hit Allende, yeah, and then he spun, and I managed the car to pass them both. But then the lap afterwards, I saw bumpers over there and gravel over there, and it was a mess on the track. So it was a wise decision to put in the safety car. And then after that, it was waiting until the green, and I could manage to stay in front. It actually was a nice fight, but there was not a real big fight. We were, I think, nearly the same speed. So it wasn't the most difficult race, but well, it was a fun race.
All right, thank you so much, Professor. Again, thank you, well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, a brilliant performance for a first-time race winner. Brilliant composure, made zero mistakes out there, at least none that we could see from the broadcasting booth. And a well-deserved victory there. Managing to avoid all the carnage at the beginning of that race. And then making his way into victory lane. The driver that he was defending from the entire time, the whole race long, is now standing by with Andre.
Thank you, Danny. I'm here with Alexander Graf. Almost, right?
Yeah, almost today. I think I was a little bit quicker than him, but I think I was quicker in different parts of the track, which was hard to manage to pass him. And it's a hard track to pass also. So P2 in the end is not too shabby to start from P5.
Bigger picture, championship picture, you gained important points. Do you have that in mind?
Yes, of course you have. I mean, of course you're fighting for races, but you're fighting for a championship, which is much more important than just single races. So a P2 in this race with chaotic start, but I survived really good, but Sebastian even did it better. So yeah, I'm super happy with the P2, super happy with the points. The team did an awesome job with the car from the test yesterday to the qualification today and for the race also. So we're looking forward to tomorrow's race actually.
All right, tack and congratulations.
Fy fan vad skönt.
Well, very pleased with that second place finish there for Alexander Graf. He could have got the win, but Sebastian with some fantastic defensive driving and just really good pace out there in the number 69 machine as well. We saw in the background during the interview Federico Bonti being towed back towards the pit lane. Fans giving him a good old cheer as he made his way in his pretty stricken number 2 machine out back onto the pit lane. Well, we're back down in the pit lane with Andre.
Thank you. I'm here with the local hero, Alia Koloc. It was an interesting race, right? How was it for you?
The race was really chaotic. The first lap, I managed to avoid cars that had crashes in the chicane. So then I was in the top 10. I think I started like out of 20, so top 10 in the first lap. And then we had a safety car for a while, and it was overall a chaotic race. But I'm happy with where I'm finished, and I had a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Are you looking forward to the EuroNASCAR race later?
Yeah, maybe hopefully it won't be as chaotic and we can have more racing laps, less safety cars, but I'm really excited.
Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, 2 safety car procedures during that event. But it gives the driver a little bit of a break in the car, although we did hear last time out of Vallelunga that with all the safety cars we had there, the drivers were actually getting hotter in the cockpits with no air going through the car. Makes it a little bit warmer in there, a little bit more physically demanding for the drivers as they make their way throughout the event. Have a look at Sebastian and Bleekenmolen's helmet there, and a little bit of a look inside the cockpit of these EuroNASCAR machines as well. Not a whole lot in there in terms of buttons and all of that kind of thing that you might see in a GT car. Just the important ones. As the team members congratulating all of their drivers out there. Before they will get hard to work with getting those cars back ready again to race in EuroNASCAR 2 a little bit later on. They've got quite a hefty job ahead of them. Fans and team members making good use of all of the extra activities around the paddock. As we await the podium ceremony to begin. Everybody eagerly awaiting the first-time race winner to make his way up onto the top step of the podium. 17 laps of chaos, 0.2 of a second was the gap at the end there. Graf pushing him right up until the very end. And we will get started for the podium procedure then. The top 3 drivers. And in 3rd position now, making his way onto the podium, Gianmarco Ercoli in the number 54 machine, holding off Alonde right until the very end, the Italian. Alexander Graf in 2nd position there. And the race winner overall, Sebastian Bleekemolen, up onto the top step for the very first time in his NASCAR Whelen Euro Series career. The trophy is now being presented to the drivers as well. And a very, very pleased Sebastian Bleekemolen there. We'll have the national anthems playing now. The Dutch national anthem there. Reaching for the champagne, but that's not just yet. First, I'll get the photos. And now the drivers will get the champagne, and getting thoroughly soaked there is your race winner, Sebastian Bleekemolen. Fantastic job from the Dutch driver, making his first appearance up on the top step of the podium. A brilliant first round here at Autodrom Most. But it's the fastest lap that decides the grid for the second race tomorrow. And looking through my timing screen here, trying to figure out exactly who that's going to be. And from what I can tell, it will be Alonde starting on pole position once again. The fastest lap of the race of a 1 minute 41.5. So a brilliant race, despite the damage that was accrued to Alonde's car. Still managing to get some good quick laps in here. Over onto the 3rd step of the podium then. In 3rd position, Liam Hazemans. And up onto the top step of the podium there, Alia Koloc. Driver of the number 29 machine. Trophies will be presented to them now. Podium for the Junior Championship here in EuroNASCAR Pro. 3 different championships for the drivers to play for. You've got the overall, and then we've got the Junior Championship as well. A good result for these 3 drivers. Next up on the podium, we will have the Challenger podium. And in third position, Yevgen Sokolovsky. In third position. Up onto the top step of the podium for the winner of the Challenger Championship here for round number 7. Armetta in 18th overall, but second in the Challenger Trophy. And right up at the top. Brilliant finish there for these 3 drivers as well. Well, that rounds up all of the podium ceremonies for the 7th round of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, the Grand Prix of Czechia. The first of 2 races for the Pro Division, second of which will be later on tomorrow. Later on today, though, we have got EuroNASCAR 2 coming up. And we'll be back with that in a couple of hours' time. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.